शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So, if you remember Brahma Vaivarta Purana, we were looking at that. Few of you have joined today for the first time, or we are meeting after a huge gap. You have forgotten, please refer to the previous audio that is there. So, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, very, very interesting Purana. At the same time, it covers a lot of aspects. I have shared on the group a text, Radha Kavacham. Why we have to learn this? There's got a significance behind this. Brahma Vaivarta Purana is the only Purana which talks about Radharani. Now you have a few stotras in this. In fact, for Krishna, we have seen a lot of stotras. If you remember, we had discussed composed by Brahma, composed by Indra, composed by Dharma, and so on. They might be just 2, 3 shlokas or so, but then it's composed in praise of the Lord. Then you have something called Radha Krishna Stotram also. That is very small. Radha Krishna Stotram. And then you have this one more stotra that is Radha Kavacham. Apart from that, Brahma Vaivarta Purana has got even other stotras like Durga Kavacham, Mahachandika Kavacham, then Bhasmasuras, I think, what is that called? Bhasmasura Pavana Kavacham, or something like that. Not Kavacham, it is a composition by Bhasmasura. Then you have, for Lord Krishna only, you have a lot of stotras. So like this, there are few stotras which are a part of Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So because it is one of those Puranas which talks about Radha and Krishna especially, we have to learn a few shlokas. So let us start first. So just put it on the group. Let's see. After some time we learn. Now let's look at the theory part that is there. Now Brahma Vaivarta Purana, last time if you remember, we were seeing the conversation between Krishna and Vishnu. One more thing to be noted for Brahma Vaivarta Purana, like Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are considered as the chief gods. Brahma Vaivarta Purana considers Krishna to be the chief god. So this is like Krishna is equal to Vishnu, you can consider. So Krishna is not considered as an avatara or incarnation of Vishnu as per Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So for Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Krishna is the supreme deity. Everything is below, or you can say like Krishna is at the top, then all of them come in. So that's why the conversation takes place between Krishna and Vishnu, wherein both the lords say that I worship you, I worship you. If you remember the words Mahadeva, Mahadeva, Mahadeveti Vadinaha, Paschadhyadi Mahastotra, Namashravana Lobhataha. So wherein Krishna he says that when, so if you remember the background, Krishna and Mahadeva, Lord Shiva, they are having a conversation wherein Krishna tells Mahadeva that you please accept Parvati, goddess Durga, as your wife. That's when he says, so when that conversation was taking place, at that time this Phalashruti is given. Those who repeat the name Mahadeva thrice, Mahadeva, Mahadeva, Mahadeveti, all the misfortunes or all the evil things that are happening in one's life, all the negativity disappears from one's life. That is the Phalashruti of this Nama. Just as we have Shri Rama Rama Rameti in the Vishnu Sahasranama, similarly here Mahadeva Mahadeva Mahadeveti. Okay, so till here we had seen. Let's continue. So this was a conversation. And further, Krishna also adds one thing, one who even breathes. Now, sometimes when we breathe or sometimes when we sneeze, what happens is, or if you're sitting down, if you have to get up, if you're finding it difficult, automatically the Lord's name comes out, right? It can be Krishna, Rama, Shiva, and so on. So it can be, it's not that we do it on purpose, automatically, unconsciously, without us being aware of it, that Nama comes out. So that's when the Lord mentions that even if you breathe the name Shiva, that in that case also all our sins and papas move away. So you don't have to put in efforts consciously also to chant the names of Shiva. It is even unconsciously you put in efforts. That also is considered as bhakti, it seems. Krishna highlights here. So Shivanamam, here you can say Shivanama Mahima has been mentioned here, or it has been highlighted a lot in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, chapter number 6. Further, chapter 7 talks about the creation of natural surroundings, earth, mountains, oceans, and so on by the creator Brahma. That is, you have the 7 Dvipas. I'm not going very much deep into it because little we have already seen in the other Puranas the topic of creation. So Goloka, Vishnu Loka, Shiva Loka, and so on. Next is you have the creation of different Vedas and Manus that takes place. Uh, who are the different Manus? They belong to which manvantaras that has been mentioned in detail. Further, you have so the names of the seven manvantaras or saptarishis, then the names of different manus, all that has been mentioned in detail. Then further, you have who now here you have one story that is there, wherein once it so happened that a conversation takes place between Brahma and Narada, and Narada, one of one of the rishis, and Deva rishis. The Deva rishi is Narada. So both Brahma and Narada, they have a conversation and different sages, it seems that. So now Narada, if you see little the way he speaks also little, it creates like fights or arguments, right? So the same way even with Brahma also it happened in one instance it seems. And Brahma in this chapter, chapter 7 of chapter 8, sorry, of the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it talks about various aspects. Now what are those aspects is how different sages are born. It seems that uh, out of the right ear of Brahma, Pulastya, the sage emerged. Pulastya, Ravana's ancestors. Pulaha, this sage came from the left ear. Atri came from the right eye. Swayam Kratu, that is the name of a sage, came from the left eye, and so on. So, what is this now? Can someone come from the eyes, ears, or different parts of the body? You must not look at this like a biological birth. Please make a note of this. It's not a biological birth that takes place. It is like a Manasaputra. So, just as maybe you look at your own child, but maybe your neighbor's child also, it is like my child only, right? If you go out somewhere with the neighbor's child also, we care for that child just like my own son. So it is somewhere like that. So not always we should consider as a biological birth also, like Manasaputra. So that's why you have the mention of different forms of the Lord that sorry, from different parts of the body, the birth takes place and so on. Further, you have the daughters of Daksha. Now, who are the daughters of Daksha? The various, the few daughters of Daksha who were there, they were married through the different nakshatras. So through the daughters of Daksha, you have the first two men, Uttanapada and Priyavrata, who are born, and from there you have Dhruva, the great devotee of Lord Vishnu Dhruva. So that's how the lineage starts. It Priyavrata, Uttanapada, from whom human race actually starts. First Manu, then from Daksha Prajapati, two daughters, their sons Uttanapada, Priyavrata, then their son Dhruva. That's how the entire lineage starts about. Then different Kapila, sorry, Kapila Avatara mention has also been given, just has been mentioned that to Devahuti and Kardama, Kapila was born. Devahuti, another daughter of uh, Daksha. Sorry, Devahuti, sorry, Devahuti is a daughter of Manu. So Devahuti, she was married to Kardama. Prasuti was married to Daksha. So if you see, there are three daughters in all from Manu and Shatarupa. The first man and woman, you have three daughters who are born in. Who are those daughters? Akuti, Devahuti, Prasuti. Akuti was married to Ruchi. Prasuti was married to Daksha, and Devahuti was married to Kardama. From Devahuti and Kardama, you have the Kapilavatara that takes place. So this birth has been mentioned. Then the daughters of Daksha were the 27 nakshatras who were married off to the moon god Soma who was there. But Soma, as we know the story, the moon god had a lot of attraction towards only Rohini, which was one of the nakshatras. That is what angered Daksha. He said that you're being loyal or you're being very dear to only one of my daughters. This will not do at all. And then the story goes upon. That's when he pronounced a curse on the moon. And that's from that day onwards, it says that you have the different phases of the moon, right? Waxing of the moon, waning of the moon, and so on. So that's when ultimately from the Amavasya till the Purnima, new moon to full moon, the moon grows. Then we feel that the parts of the moon are not there. And on the new moon day, Amavasya, we cannot see the moon at all. Then that's when for the reference you have Lord Somadeva, he goes to Somnath, which is today is the first Jyotirlinga. There he worships Lord Shiva there in order to regain back his luster. There are references. He also goes to some temples in South India and he worships the Lord. That's when he gets back his luster. But still, he gets back his shine, luster, and so on. But even till date, we do. So, though the moon god, he got back his luster shine. Still, we see the faces of the moon that are there. So that is because of Daksha's curse that took place. He was only loyal to one wife, that is Rohini, and he neglected all other sisters to him. Now, if you want to know the name of the nakshatras in detail, that also has been mentioned in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, starting from Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, and so on, till Purva Bhadrapada, Uttara Bhadrapada, and Revati. Okay. I hope everyone knows your own nakshatras. Those who don't know your nakshatras, you must know your nakshatras. Okay. So, on which nakshatra we are born. If few of you are joined in today newly, that is because we are going to learn Radha Kavacham. Radha Kavacham is a part of Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So these it's an ongoing class. We are having lectures on Brahma on various Puranas. So we are towards the end. Brahma Vaivarta Purana is there. So I'm talking about the same. So in a while also we will start learning the same. All of you can wait. You can listen to the story of Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and then we start learning Radha Kavacham. So Radha Kavacham or Radha Krishna Stotram. These are two things. There are many others, as I told some time back, which we must learn from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, because it is, let me know, only Purana. Yes, it is only Purana that talks about Radharani, the glory of Radharani. So therefore, at least one stotram, Radha Kavacham, we must learn in praise of Radha. Okay. Now, so like this, coming back, this is how Daksha married his daughters. That story has been mentioned in detail. Then the different sages were born, and after the sages were born, that's how lineage starts coming in. So you have Daksha, their daughters who are married off, then their children, then their children, the various sages were born out of Brahma. Then that's how progeny it went ahead further. Then in chapter 10 you have the mention of the Varnashrama is nothing but how the society was divided in those times, how the Kshatriyas were born, how the Vaishyas were born, how the Shudras were born, and so on. So basically, if you see, it seems that uh, you also have the Sukaras who are born. So Sukaras is like a still subcaste that we have. Let's not even call it as a caste. You can say like a subcategory which is born further. So today, why I'm just not going very much deep detail into it. So it is just as now, when we say about Varnashrama dharmas, it is nothing but just as in today's times we have different what you can say like intercaste marriages that take place, or we have the different tribal communities, we have subcategories. Now if someone has to say that if you have to introduce yourself, you always say, right, I belong to so and so family and so on. So when you say so and so family, it's not that you just say your name. You say maybe you belong to this, your family's name is this, or most of us we have some surname, right? Few of us we don't have, but then few of us we have some surnames that is there. So looking at that surname, we can make out which area you belong, what category, what is your caste, and so on, right? So even in those times, it seems that there were some intercaste marriages that used to take place, and why that was being done is to create these subcategories. So whatever happens that we see around today, it's not something new that happens. Is maybe the form or the way that we see today that might be different, but the roots are always present somewhere. So it's not that today something is happening, today it's happening for the first time. It is not at all so. Chapter 10 of the Brahma Vaivarta Purana highlights on these points about how the different four categories emerged: the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Shukaras, and so on. Then you had the category of cowherds, barbers, weavers, blacksmiths, and so on. Even today, if you go to some rural villages of Bharata, you can actually see that now in today's times, if you see people, even if like no, my father is a farmer, my grandfather is a farmer, and so on. Maybe for two, three generations before, it was the same thing, the family tradition, whatever the family's occupation that used to be followed. But in today's times, usually if you see the young generation, they don't do that, right? Maybe the father or grandfather might be doing something, but the child will be doing something quite different. But still, at times people say, no, my family was into this, so they might be a cowherd somewhere. Or like the Yadavas, for example, they are Krishna himself. The family's occupation was mainly selling milk and milk products. So that was their family tradition that they used to follow. The same occupation was passed on from generations to generation. So basically, you have the union that takes place of intercaste marriages, how different castes, subcategories get created. One example is like a Vaishya getting married to a Shudra. Then a female, the female who is born, it will be called as a Ambashta. Just one reference, Ambashta. So this Shudra Vishostu Karanombashtau Vaishyad Dvijanmanoho. This is one reference that comes in. So Ambashta is the name of the woman who's born after being born through a Vaishya and a Shudra. So like this, there were certain subcategories also that were being created, and you have different stories on this. And certain occupations, it seems that like the carpenter, goldsmith, and so on, they such occupations developed on the earth because of the curse of Brahma, it seems. And these occupations, people who follow these occupations, they are called Varana Sankaras. Varana Sankaras meaning they are not able to perform yajnas and so on. So even today, if you see, most of us, a few of us, that is the Shudra community, they don't have the Yajnopavita. If you don't have the Yajnopavita, you cannot perform certain rituals like the Sandhya Vandana and so on. Then, for the different sacrifices that we do, that is only certain sacrifices, or to do a sacrifice yajnas, you have to be a grihastha. So certain rules, certain anushtanas are there for certain specific categories who are there in the society. This also has been highlighted in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So the different rules that are there, they have been mentioned in these Puranas also. So Brahma Vaivarta Purana doesn't only talk about the story of Radha and Krishna. There are certain these rules also that have been mentioned. Further, you have the mention of now in detail, you have the various occupations that are there in chapter 10. Those who want, you can read it in detail. We don't have so much time to look at the entire Purana, so you can go through that later. So the different castes, the different subcastes, categories, that has been mentioned in detail. The names of different castes also has been mentioned, like the Mlecha, Jola, then Kuvinda, and so on. And how, and here if you see, just not getting into the story part, but you have even stories where such things have happened, like a woman getting, like a Shudra woman getting in union with a man belonging to some other category and so on, and how the birth took place. So, or you can also consider simply marrying in the same gotra and so on, so that leads to certain disabilities. The same has been mentioned to some extent in the uh, Brahma Vaivarta Purana through certain stories. So Apsaras, Yakshas, certain people belonging to the demi gods category, that little reference you get even in these Puranas. Further, you have the, one second, one second, just 1 minute. The mention of various relations has been mentioned in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. For example, in this all is a part of chapter 10. So initially the part of chapter 10, the initial part talks about different castes and categories that are there in the society, and different relations have been mentioned in the second part. So chapter 10, in one chapter only, you have who's a grandfather, like for example Mata Mahapita Matuho Pramatamah Evacha Matamahasya Janakaha Tatpita Vriddha Purvakaha Pitamahi Piturmata Tachavashtraf Prapitamaha Tachavashroshta sa Vriddha Prapitamahi. So there are many verses like this, more than 100 verses talking about different relations. I'm just giving you an easy example. Pituhu Pita Pitamaha, Pituhu Mata Pitamahi, Matuhu Pita Matamaha, Matuhu Mata Matamahi. So simple examples: grandparents, paternal grandparents, maternal grandparents. So who is what, that has been mentioned in the, in this Purana. The various relations have been mentioned. If you want to know the verse number, so those who have little basic knowledge of Sanskrit, you can make out verse number 139 onwards of chapter 10 Brahma Vaivarta Purana. You can find the mention of different relations that are there. Then you have certain stories of the Ashwini Kumaras and the mention of rivers. Now, mention of rivers and the supreme amongst all categories has been mentioned, just as in the chapter 10 of the Gita, we have the Lord says, amongst all categories, I am great. Similarly, here you have a verse, Nasti Ganga Samam Tirtham, Na cha Krishnat Parasuraha, Na Shankarat Vaishnavashcha, Na Sahishnur Dhara 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 Para. So, Nasti Ganga Samam Tirtham, there is no holy place like the Ganga river. Nacha Krishnat Paraf There is no other Lord better than Krishna. I told you Brahma Vaivarta Purana glorifies Lord Krishna. He is only the supreme. So that has been mentioned. The Shankarat Vaishnavashta. There is no one The Shankarad Vaishnavascha. Shankara is a great Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. So there is no Vaishnava devotees of Vishnu, no greater devotee than Shiva. Na Sahishnur Dharapara. There is no one else who can live on this earth peacefully, or no one else who can bear or tolerate things like Mother Earth itself. Dharapara. Dhara. Okay, so these are certain things that have been mentioned here, that is great amongst all categories: Lord Krishna, Ganga, Lord Shiva, and finally Goddess Mother Earth, who has been mentioned here. Next, you have the okay, few people are coming in. You have the story of Narada that has been mentioned in the chapter 12 of Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Now, what is this story? Now, there are different stories revolving around the birth of Narada. This Purana, it narrates a particular version. What is that? Let us see. Now, when Brahma started the process of creation, he called few sages who were actually his sons and told him that you help in the process of creation. That is basically you get married, beget children, and so on. So out of that, few sages did that. They participated in this. They followed the command of Brahma. But Brahma, what happened is, in another instance or so, there is a reference that mentions that Narada had cursed Brahma. So therefore, Brahma had lost his glory, and Brahma had also got certain curses, like from uh, when both Brahma and Vishnu, they had a competition amongst them to find out the end of the Shivalinga. If you know that story, so there also Brahma had got a curse. So in certain references, Brahma gets a curse, and that's why people even till date, if you see, we don't worship Brahma. He doesn't have a temple except for one temple in Pushkar, which is today's Rajasthan. So, like this, Brahma was cursed a few times, so he had lost all his glory, though he was a creator. But on the other hand, Narada was also cursed by Brahma. So both Narada had cursed Brahma, Brahma had also cursed Narada. So how that, what is that exactly that story that has been narrated here? So once there was a king of Gandharvas, it seems. Amongst the Gandharvas, Chitraratha is the greatest. Chitraratha, Gandharvanam Chitraratha. So Chitraratha is one of the Gandharvas. So he was present in that court, Gandharva king. So he was a very, you can say, a prosperous king, very peaceful king. People also liked him. All the Gandharvas used to write praises about him, but the only thing that he had was the only one drawback that the king had was he used to continuously develop pains in the chest. Now, why I'm telling you certain stories is, if you come across some Puranic stories also, you might have the mention of these stories. That's why, just to get an idea of few stories, I'm just highlighting. Okay, so this Gandharva king, who was there, a very prosperous king, a very good king, but what had happened is he had no son, firstly, and secondly, he used to continuously develop a pain in his chest. So that's when he went to his priest and so on, and they said that let us do a yajna also for your good being. So there he started worshipping Lord Shiva, and at that time, Vasishta, he gave a kavacha to this, is a Shiva kavacham, as I told you sometime before. We have Radha kavacham, Shiva kavacham, and so on. Durga kavacham in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So, like this, the priest, he blessed this king with a Shiva Kavacham. The priest was none other than Vasishta himself. So, it had basically 12 letters. And he said that for uh, you don't have sons also, you have this continuous pain also that is coming in. So, what you have to do is you have to chant this mantra, you have to remain without food for 100 divya years, for 100 divine years. So, it's not human years, divine years. Recite this mantra. After 100 years, Shiva himself will arrive in front of you, he will bless you, and so on. So, his face was became very happy. What exactly is this kavacham? I'll just chant. त्रिशूलपट्टिशतरं वृषभस्तं दिगम्बरं शुद्धस्फटिकशङ्काशं त्रिनेत्रं चन्द्रशेखरं तप्तस्वर्णप्रभाजुष्टजटाजादधरं वरं नीलकण्ठं च सर्वज्ञं नागयज्ञोपवीतकं संहर्तारं च सर्वेषां कालं मृत्युञ्जयं परं भीष्ममध्यार्हमार्ताण्ड मार्तण्डकोटिसङ्काशमीश्वरं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रदं शान्तं मुक्तिपदं हरिभक्तिदं दृष्ट्वा ननाम सहसा गन्धर्वो दण्डवद्भुवि वसिष्ठदत्तस्तोत्रेण तुष्टाव परमेश्वरं परं वृणुष्वेति शिवस्तमुवाच कृपानिधिः स या याचे हरिर्भक्तिं पुत्रं परमवैष्णवम्. Shloka number 15 to 19, chapter 12, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, 5 shlokas only. This is Shiva Kavacham. So, the king of Gandharva and also all the other Gandharvas who were there, they prostrated before Lord Shiva. So, basically, here this Kavacham for those who are not blessed with children, also they too chant the Shiva Kavacham, a protective cover that we have. So, Brahma Vaivarta Purana is known a lot for all these stotras and so on. It will be very small, but like initially we had seen a few stotras on Lord Krishna and so on. Next, so this is one Shiva Kavacham that is there. If you want, you can make a note. Chapter 12, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Shloka 15 to 19. Next, so Lord Shiva finally he gives this boon also to the Gandharva. The Gandharva is blessed, and there are certain stories that are associated with the Gandharva further, what happened later, how Krishna came into his life, and so on. Next is you have the story of again you have the story of Radharani that comes in the middle part of the Purana. Now, when I say Radharani, why Radharani's mention comes here is uh, again Krishna and Radha's love story that is there, or the divine love that they have. Now, whenever it seems that it's not directly mentioned in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, but if you have seen all those different Kalyanotsava, it can be Sita Kalyanam, Radha Kalyanam, Srinivasa Kalyanam, and so on. Now, Srinivasa Kalyanam is the only Kalyanam wherein the Lord's name is taken first. Srinivasa. We don't say Rama Kalyanam, Krishna Kalyanam. We say Sita Kalyanam, Radha Kalyanam. But there it is Srinivasa Kalyanam. That is the glory of the Lord. So there, when we do the Mangalya Dharana, we have a shloka that is chanted, right? What is that shloka? Anyone knows? Correct. Mangalyam tantuna nena mama jeevana hetuna kanthe batnabi, and so on. That shloka that comes in. Tam jeeva sharadashatam. So whenever the groom tries, now few men are there, so you might you but hasn't okay. Few men are there, so you might be able to know, or even woman also, if you're married, you might remember the shloka that is chanted. Mangalyam tantunanena mama jeevana. When the Lord's Kalyanam is done, Krishna Sita Kalyanam, Radha Kalyanam, Srinivasa Kalyanam, it will not be Mama Jeevana Hetuna, it will be Jagat Jeevana Hetuna. If you listen very carefully, there is a purpose behind this. Because by this Kalyanam, by this marriage that is taking place, the groom says that I'm attaining some purpose in my life. That it's a new change. My life is good. I'm entering a new stage and so on. That's how you have the Kashi Yatra Parampara and so on. Wherein the groom feels that I don't want to come out of this brahmacharya ashrama. So let me go on the Kashi Yatra. That's when the bride's father goes and says, come stop. I have something to give you. I want to offer you my Kanya Dana, right? So that's when the groom comes back. So then he tries this mangalyam tantuna nena mama jeevana hetuna, this mangalyam that I'm going to tie around your neck, that is a sign of being together, that it is adding some purpose into my life. But this is for my life, or you can say our life, both the bride and the groom. But the wedding that takes place between gods, that is there, it's not for their purpose. If Radha and Krishna are getting married, it's not for the sake of both of them. Sita Rama are getting married, not for the sake of both of them. Sita Kalyanam, Radha Kalyanam, Srinivasa Kalyanam takes place. It is for the benefit of devotees like us. So therefore it is Jagat Jeevana Hetuna. The entire world gets the blessings of the lords who are there. It can be for any Kalyanam that takes place. So that is a very significant aspect which has to be noted. Jagat Jeevana Hetuna. So though it doesn't have a direct mention in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, but you must note these things because it talks about the marriage of various gods. Then further you have a few stories that now in this Brahma Vaivarta Purana, if you see, there is lot of, you can say, small stories that are mentioned. Like for example, it will be a very a minor story, that is, it has got no purpose. I'm not delving too much detail into that. But if you wish to read each and every aspect, I will share this on the group also. So if you wish to read each and every aspect, every story, like maybe few stories you can take up each day and read. So you have certain stories by the Brahmanas and so on. So that is one thing. Next is you have the mention of Dhanvantari, who has composed a tantra. So little bit Ayurveda reference also comes in this Purana, chapter number 60, wherein Dhanvantari he says that he composed a tantra. Now what is a tantra? Chikitsa Tattva Vijnanam. Chikitsa Tattva Vijnanam, that is a science of treatments. That is there, that has been mentioned here. It is actually, it was composed, though it is composed by Lord Dhanvantari, it was also composed by the Lord Divodasha. Sundaresh, you want to say something? Raised your hand? No? Okay. Acha. Okay. So there are certain mentions of certain Ayurveda texts that has been mentioned here. One is this Chikitsa Vijnanam. Then you have uh, Chikitsa Kaumudi, Chikitsara Tantra, Chikitsa Sara Tantra. So like this, there are two, three texts that are there. So Yama, Lord Dharmadeva has composed Jnanarnava. Then Sahadeva has composed Vyadhi Sindhu Vimardana. Then you have this Adashwini Kumaras who composed the Chikitsa Saratnakara. Then Kashi Raja has composed this Chikitsa Kaumudi. Just telling you these names in later in the audio, if you want, you can note it. Why all this has been mentioned is even Chavana, the great sage Chavana, he has also composed certain tantras. So of Ayurveda Shastram and so on. So basically, Ayurveda Shastram has got its roots little bit in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana also. So basically, those who study medicine, Ayurveda, and so on, they also get a few references. You want to know the texts of few books, you can refer to the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. All this name has been mentioned in detail. Then you have certain aspects, uh, like what exactly should be done, what exactly should not be done, and so on. Health aspects or health tips, as we call. Now, what is this is, now for those people who are not that much self-disciplined. It seems now all these physicians and Vaidyas who have written all these texts, they give some tips in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, like us, you can consider. Now, when I say not self-disciplined, is maybe we don't eat at the right time, we don't sleep at the right time, and so on. Like, let me not blame all of you. Let me consider myself only. So maybe we don't care much, right? It's just you just go about, you don't do any kind of exercise, this and that. It's life is just going on. It seems that for them everything gets affected slowly. The physical body gets affected, the mental health also keeps affected. So self health, or you can say self care, is very very important. Now when I say self care, that means taking care of one's own physical and mental health is very very important. This and various aspects, how you have to take care of your health, how you can keep old age away, and so on, that has been mentioned in the Purana. Little I just tell you, if you want later you can read it. So I am highlighting all these points specifically. You might feel this is something that is so common, and why something has to be mentioned in the Purana. It is to show that today, when we talk a lot about health, also take care of your health, do this, do that, when we say, it has got some mention even in our own scriptures, our own Puranas. That's the reason why, if you might be wondering, or maybe few of you are elders here, you might be doing, maybe while you take a bath also, so certain people in the villages also, they'll apply a lot of oil, then they'll apply certain it's not actually a cream also, but certain Ayurvedic herbs, this, that they apply, right? And then you keep it for some time. Then after that you use it. Or maybe we apply turmeric, this, that paste all on our faces, right? So why our elders used to apply something is, there used to be some mention. It had some health benefits. Even today also, we take care of our health, right? Maybe some people, you take a bath also, you apply certain things. Apart from the soap, other things we apply, this cream, that cream, and so on. So all this has got some reference. So maybe our own ancestors, our own grandmothers, they didn't know, okay, it has been mentioned in so and so text and so on, but it was just passed on from traditions together. Even today we get hurt also, someone says apply turmeric, right, to stop the blood flow, or you apply something here, a certain leaves are applied. So why all such things are done is, it has been passed on from generation to generation. But right from where did it actually come? From Puranas like this. So all the knowledge that we have is quite old. Now there are few things that have been mentioned. It seems that to keep old age away, first is walking. This is something which is very very important. Walking, this has been mentioned in the Purana. Vasante Brahmanam Vanhi. Vasante is during the spring season. Why spring season? That is, now in a country like Bharata, you don't have spring also. Basically, you can consider the month of March, wherein it's not very hot, not very cold. At that time, Brahmanam, go out to walk. That is very very beneficial. It keeps you away from old age. So that is little bit, heat is about to start, winter is about to end. It is quite pleasant. Taking a bath, and while you take a bath, you apply sandal paste also, and a morning walk, it seems that keeps the old age away. This shloka has been mentioned. Vasante Brahmanam Vanhi Sevam Swalpam Karoti Yaha Valam Cha Sevate Kale Jaram Jaratam nopagachati. Jara is old age. No, na upagachati, meaning it doesn't even come near. Khata Shidodakasnai Sevate Chandanadravam. Chandanadravam applying sandal paste. Nopayadi Jaram Tamcha Nidhage Nilasevakam. Nidhage Nilasevakam meaning in the morning you go out for a walk also, that is very very beneficial. The shloka comes in shloka number 37, 38, chapter 16, Brahma Vaivarta Purana. I'm just giving you with references because it is quite interesting. Whatever we do today in our lives, we feel that such things have come only today. It is not at all so. It has been passed on from generations together. Like this, few things have been mentioned, like chewing of betel leaves. Why do people chew betel leaves? For it is actually having some digestion purpose behind it. That's why people had a habit of chewing betel leaves. So like this, there are few tips that are given. We'll continue looking at the meaning part from next time. Now let's start learning Radha Kavacham. As I told you, few of you have joined today for the first time, but this is an ongoing session that takes place every Saturday from 9 to 10 o'clock. So if anyone wants to, most of you are there in the group. If anyone wants to join, you send me a message individually. So because Radha Kavacham, if we don't finish today, we will have to continue next time. Okay, let's start learning. All of you, have you opened the text? Yes. Radha Kavacham. Yeah. Now, what is the significance behind this Radha Kavacham is again Maheshwara Uvacha. Lord Shiva, he tells this. Now, Radha Kavacham, if you see, Jagan, the first line itself, Shri Jagan Mangalasyasya Kavachasya Prajapatihi. This now Kavacham, the word itself is like an armor or like a protective cover that is there around us which protects us. We have Narayana Kavacham, Durga Kavacham, and so on. Now you have this Radha Kavacham. So a protective cover from what and for whom? It is for the welfare of the entire world, for protection for not one's own self but from all elements around. So talking about the aspects of Radha, talking about the aspects of Krishna, considering both, we have this Radha Kavacham that has been composed for the benefit of the entire world. So that's why it is mentioned Jagan Mandalasya. Now, Radharani, I hope all of you know, she was a Gopika who was there, the daughter of Vrishabhanu. That's why you have in some reference Vrishabhanu Putri. Vrishabhanu and Kamalavati. Vrishabhanu is the father of Radha and Kamalavati. In the Sankalpa, when you do the Radha Krishna Kalyanam, you have these names that come in. Kamalavati is the mother of Radha. And it seems that in, just to tell you about, little bit about uh, Radha Kavacham, I'm just telling you. Radha, it seems that the number of Gopikas who were there, they were about 18,000 in number. Amongst all those 18,000 Gopikas, Radha is considered to be the chief of the Gopikas, most important because of her devotion to the Lord. And she is basically a form of Shakti or Prakriti. And Radha Kavacham, one Radha Kavacham which we are going to learn is a part of Brahma Vaivarta Purana, but there is also one more that is a part that is in the Narada Pancharatra. If you have heard about this text, Narada Pancharatra, in that also this Kavacham was again taught by Lord Shiva to Parvati. So there it is little Parvati, she questions that you tell me about Radha, you tell me about her Kavacham, and so on. Parvati questions Lord Shiva. Shiva there he answers that you listen to me, and so on. So there are Radha Kavacham and 2 or 3 texts that is there. So you don't have to get confused. But this what we are going to learn is from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Okay, let us start. So at least one stotra we must learn in praise of Radha Krishna. So therefore I just chose Radha Kavacham is quite easy, and that is something which most of us, if we learn it, will be good. So that's why I just chose Radha Kavacham. Let's start. Om Maheshwara Uvacha Shri Jagan Mangalasya Kavachasya Prajapatihi Shri Jagan Mangalasya Kavachasya Prajapatihi. Only one line. Then second verse onwards. ऋषिष्ठन्दोऽस्य गायत्री देवीरासेश्वरी स्वयं श्रीकृष्णभक्तिसम्प्राप्तौ विनियोगः प्रकीर्तितः ऋषिष्ठन्दोऽस्य गायत्री देवीरासेश्वरी स्वयं श्रीकृष्णभक्तिसम्प्राप्तौ विनियोगः प्रकीर्तितः Shambhavi Shrikari, are you all there? Or only listening? No? No problem, no problem. Let them be there. You only you chant. Rishishchandosya Gayatri देवी रासेश्वरी स्वयं श्रीकृष्णभक्तिसम्प्राप्तौ विनियोगः प्रकीर्तितः वैजंती मैनेजी okay. Sriram chant ऋषिश्छन्दोस्य गायत्री देवी रासेश्वरी स्वयं श्रीकृष्ण भक्तिसम्प्राप्तौ विनियोग प्रकीर्तितः वेरी नाइस ऋषिश्छन्दोस्य गायत्री देवी रासेश्वरी स्वयं श्रीकृष्ण भक्ति संप्राप्तौ विनियोगः प्रकीर्तितः शिष्याय कृष्ण भक्ताय ब्रह्मणाय प्रकाशयेत् prakashayet sha should be half. It's given as sorry, sha should be full. It is given half in the text. Make the correction. Shathaya parashishyaya tattva mrityamavapnuyat शिष्याय कृष्ण भक्ताय ब्रह्मणाय प्रकाशयेत् शठाय परशिष्याय तत्त्वा मृत्युमवाप्नुयात् अदृत् शिष्याय कृष्ण भक्ताय ब्रह्मणाय प्रकाशयेत् शठाय परशिष्याय शठा दत्त्वा मृत्युमवाप्नुयात् अलमेनुजि शिष्याय कृष्णभक्ताय ब्रह्मणाय प्रकाशयेत् शठाय परशिष्याय दत्त्वा मृत्युमवाप्नुयात् धन्यवादः शिष्याय कृष्णभक्ताय ब्रह्मणाय प्रकाशयेत् शठाय परशिष्याय दत्त्वा मृत्युमवाप्नुयात् all of you make a note. There are two Radha Kavachams. Okay, as I told you, one is from the Narada Pancharatra, a conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati. Parvati questions, Shiva answers. Here also, Radha Kavacham, as a part of Brahmavaivarta Purana, it has been told by Shiva. Okay, so there are two. Always remember this. राज्यं देयं शिरो देयं न देयं कवचं प्रिये कण्ठे धृतमिदं भक्ता कृष्णेन परमात्मना significance of this kavacham, one who always keeps this kanthe dhritamidam, literal meaning one who always keeps chanting, is very much dear to Lord Krishna. Rajam deyam shiro deyam nadeyam kavacham priye kanthe dhritamidam bhaktya कृष्णेन परमात्मना अनुराधा जी राज्यं देयं शिरो देयं न देयं कवचं प्रिये कण्ठे धृतमिदं भक्त्या कृष्णेन परमात्मना पद्मावती जी राज्यं देयं शिरो देयं न देयं कवचं प्रिये कण्ठे धृतमिदं भक्त्या कृष्णेन परमात्मना राजं देयं शिरो देयं न देयं कवचं प्रिये कण्ठे धृतमिदं भक्त्या कृष्णेन परमात्मना मया दृष्टं च गोलोके golokam. This reference comes in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana many times. Just as we have Shiva Loka, Brahma Loka, and so on, there is a Loka called Goloka. Maya drashtam cha Goloke Brahmana Vishnuna Pura Om Radheti Chaturthyantam Vanhi Jayantameva cha Maya drashtam cha Goloke Brahmana Vishnuna Pura Om Radheti Chaturthyantam Vanhi Jayantameva cha गीतुजी मया दृष्टं च गोलोके ब्रह्मणा विष्णुना पुरा ॐ राधेति चतुर्थ्यन्तम् वह्निजायान्तमेव च ज्योति कुमार जी मया दृष्टं च गोलोके ब्रह्मणा विष्णुना पुरा ॐ राधेति चतुर्थ्यन्तम् वह्निजायान्तमेव च मया दृष्टं च गोलोके ब्रह्मणा विष्णुना पुरा ॐ राधेति चतुर्थ्यन्तम् वह्निजायान्तमेव च कृष्णेनोपासितो मन्त्रः कल्पवृक्षः शिरोवतु ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं नोट द वर्ड ह्रीं श्रीं ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं राधिकाङ्गेतं वह्निजायान्तमेव च कृष्णेनोपासितो मन्त्रः कल्पवृक्षः शिरोवतु ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं राधिकाङ्गेतं वह्निजायान्तमेव च सुदासि कृष्णेनोपासितो मन्त्रः सुदासि नो संध्या जी कल्पवृक्षः शिरोवतु ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं राधिकाङ्गेतं वह्निजायान्तमेव च संध्या जी chant. Yeah. कृष्णेनोपासितो मन्त्रः कल्पवृक्षः शिरोवतु ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं राधिकाङ्गेतं वह्निजायान्तमेव च कृष्णेनोपासितो मन्त्रः कल्पवृक्षः शिरोवतु ॐ ह्रीं श्रीं राधिकाङ्गेतं वह्निजायान्तमेव च कपालं नेत्रयुग्मं च श्रोत्रयुग्मं सदावतु ॐ रां ह्रीं श्रीं राधिकेति गेतं वह्निजाय meter is differing because of the om that comes in, but we have to chant om. Without that, the kavacham is not complete. Kapalam netrayugmam cha shrotrayugmam sadavatu om ram rim shrim radhiketing getam vanhijayantameva cha Lakshmi Kumar ji Kapalam netrayugmam cha श्रोत्रयुग्मं सदावतु ॐ रां ह्रीं श्रीं now here all of you can make it as radhiketing tam instead of the radhikantam One second, one second. Kapalam Om Ram Reem Shrim Radhikentam Radhikangentam. Let it be. No, no, just stand it as it is. Om Ram Reem Shrim Radhiketi Radhiketi Getam Vanhi Jayantamev Cha. Okay, now let us stand as it is given in the text. Yeah. कपालं नेत्रयुग्मं च श्रोत्रयुग्मं सदावतु ॐ रां ह्रीं श्रीं राधिकेतीं गेतं वह्नि जायान्तमेव च मस्तकं केशसङ्गांश्च yeah two it has to be two only yeah मस्तकं केशसङ्घांश्च मन्त्रराजः सदावतु ॐ रां राधेति चतुर्यन्तं वह्निजायान्तमेव च मस्तकं केशसङ्घांश्च. So it is for every body part. This is for the head, mastakam, kesha and so on. Mastakam kesha mantrarajas sadavato om ram radhetsi chaturthyantam vanyjayantameva cha. Gayatri ji, mastakam kesha mantrarajas sadavato om ram radheti chaturthyantam वह्निजायान्तमेव च श्यामलाजी मस्तकं केशसङ्घांश्च श्यामलाजी मन्त्रराजः सदावतु ॐ रां राधेति चतुर्थ्यन्तम् वह्निजायान्तमेव च मस्तकं केशसङ्घांश्च मन्त्रराजः सदावतु ॐ रां राधेति चतुर्थ्यन्तम् वह्निजायान्तमेव च सर्वसिद्धिप्रदः पातु कपोलं नासिकामुखम् Kapola Nasika Mukham. So basically the face. Klim Shrim Krishna Priyangentam Kantham Patu Namontakam Sarva Siddhi Pradah Patu Kapolam Nasika Mukham Klim Shri Krishna Klim Shrim Krishna Priyangentam Kantham Patu Namontakam Vaijanti Manaji Sarva Siddhi Pradah Patu कपोलं नासिकामुखम् क्लीं श्रीं कृष्णप्रियाङ्गेन्तम् कण्ठं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् हरिप्रिया जी will you chant? Yeah, नमस्ते सर्वसिद्धिप्रदः पातु कपोलं नासिका wait कपोलं नासिकामुखम् क्लीं श्रीं कृष्णप्रियाङ्गेन्तम् कण्ठं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् सर्वसिद्धिप्रदः पातु कपोलं नासिकामुखम् क्लीं श्रीं कृष्णप्रियाङ्गेतं कण्ठं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् ॐ रां रासेश्वरीङ्गेन्तं स्कन्दं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् स्कन्दं शोल्डर्स् ॐ रां रासविलासिन्यौ स्वाहा पृष्ठं सदावतु पृष्ठं बैक् ॐ रां रासेश्वरीं स्कन्दं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् ॐ रां रासविलासिन्यै स्वाहा पृष्ठं सदावतु कृष्णमणिजी ॐ रां रासेश्वरीं स्कन्दं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् ॐ रां रासविलासिन्यौ सिनि सोरि स्वाहा पृष्ठं सदावतु पीवी मंजुलाजी नो चंद्रिकाजी ॐ रां रासेश्वरीं स्कन्दं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् ॐ रां रासविलासिन्यै स्वाहा पृष्ठं सदावतु ॐ रां रासेश्वरीं स्कन्दं पातु नमोऽन्तकम् ॐ रां रासविलासिन्यै स्वाहा पृष्ठं सदावतु वृन्दावनविलासिन्यै स्वाहा वक्षः सदावतु तुलसीवनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् वृन्दावनविलासिन्यै स्वाहा वक्षः सदावतु तुलसीवनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् वक्षः सदा चेस्ट सुप्रजा वृन्दावनविलासिन्यै स्वाहा वक्षः सदावतु तुलसीवनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् Shripriya ji is with you. Acha, that's okay. Yeah, yeah. वृन्दावनविलासिन्यै स्वाहा वक्षः सदावतु तुलसीवनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् वृन्दावनविलासिन्यै स्वाहा वक्षः सदावतु तुलसीवनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् कृष्णप्राणाधिकाङ्गेन्तं स्वाहान्तं प्रणवादिकं पादयुग्मं च सर्वाङ्गं सन्ततं पातु सर्वतः कृष्णप्राणादिकाङ्गेन्तं स्वाहान्तं प्रणवादिकं पादयुग्मं च सर्वाङ्गं सन्ततं पातु सर्वतः आरपी केशन जी कृष्ण प्राणाधिकाङ्गेतं स्वाहान्तं प्रणवादिकं पादयुग्मं च सर्वाङ्गं सन्ततं पातु सर्वतः सुमति जी कृष्ण प्राणादिकाङ्गेन्तं स्वाहान्तं प्रणवादिकं पादयुग्मं च सर्वाङ्गं सन्ततं पातु सर्वतः कृष्णप्राणादिकाङ्गेन्तं स्वाहान्तं प्रणवादिकं पादयुग्मं च सर्वाङ्गं सन्ततं पातु सर्वतः राधा रक्षतु प्राच्यां च वह्नौ कृष्णप्रियावतो तुलसीवनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् राधा रक्षतु प्राच्यां च वह्नौ कृष्णप्रिया व्रतो तुलसी वनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् Gayatri RL Gayatri ji, you chanted, right? Sorry, I'll call someone else. Deepa ji, Radha Rakshatu Prachyam Cha Vannau Krishna Priya Vrato Tulasi Vanavasinyai Swaha Patu Nitambakam. Yeah. Renuka ji, Radha Rakshatu Prachyam Cha Renuka ji, oh, she left. Uh, Prabha ji, Prabha Ramanathan. No. Sridhar ji chant. Radha Rakshatu Prachyam Cha वह्नौ कृष्णप्रिया व्रतो तुलसी वनवासिन्यै स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् राधा रक्षतु प्राच्यां च वह्नौ कृष्णप्रियावतु तुलसी वनवासिन्यै रा स्वाहा पातु नितम्बकम् पश्चिमे निर्गुणे पातु निर्गुणा पातु वायव्ये कृष्णपूजिता उत्तरे सन्ततं पातु मूलप्रकृतिरीश्वरी पश्चिमे निर्गुणा पातु वायव्ये कृष्णपूजिता उत्तरे सन्ततं पातु मूलप्रकृतिरीश्वरी प्रभजी चण्ड पश्चिमे निर्गुणा पातु वायव्ये कृष्णपूजिता उत्तरे सन्ततं पातु मूलप्रकृतिरीश्वरी ज्योति कुमार जी पश्चिमे निर्गुणा पातु वायव्ये कृष्णपूजिता उत्तरे सन्ततं पातु सन् मूलप्रकृतिरीश्वरी पश्चिमे निर्गुणा पातु वायव्ये कृष्णपूजिता उत्तरे सन्ततं पातु मूलप्रकृतिरीश्वरी okay, so today time is up, we will stop here. Next week again we continue with this Radha Kavacham.